My name is Hobie, and I'm sitting in a 1969 AMX. AMC started building the AMX in 1968 and went through 69 and 70 and produced just under 20,000 cars in those 3 years, so they're pretty rare. Well, they started putting the AMX logos on a lot of cars at AMC, but they're not technically AMXs. The Javelin AMX, Concorde AMX, Hornet AMX. We use the X on the Pacer, a Gremlin X, Hornet X, Matador X, but there were only 3 years of the actual AMX, which didn't really have a name. It was just considered an experimental for 3 years. The AM is just American Motors, so the X is actually the designation of the car. The AMX was a car that I saw when it was brand new, when I was 12 years old. And I just fell in love with the hood, the way the car looked. And as I got older, I wanted to buy one, but 17, 18 years old, I couldn't find any of these cars. That's why I kind of got into Mustangs instead, you know, because they were easier to find. It took me over 4 years to find one that was the color that I wanted. It was Alamosa Aqua, which is super rare. It happens to be my favorite color. They were only special order, so there might be less than 100 of these made in this color. It had the 390 Go package with the disc brakes and shoulder harnesses, you know, larger radiator and battery and a twin grip rear end. At that time, I had a fastback Mustang, K-Code GT, that was really nice, and I actually sold that because I bought this. And at car shows, this car draws a lot more attention and wins more trophies than my Mustang ever did. The AMX was a unique car. People will look at it and say, nice car, what is it? I don't know, that's fun to me, to have a car that people don't know about, and then they start to appreciate it more. Well, the AMX in 1968 broke 106 records with Craig Breedlove and Lee Breedlove driving the car. It definitely was an attention getter, and that's the whole idea. It's exciting just to look at, whether it's sitting still or not. Well, the AMX 390 was rated at 315 horsepower, but it was usually higher, closer to 320. 0-60 was under 6 seconds, which was real good for back then, especially with the skinny tires they used to run on them. One of the big changes that I made to this car when I got it was the tires and wheels. I wanted to give it that stock appearance, but still have a little bit more high performance look. So I put the skinny tires in the front, and the back tires are 12¼ inches wide to give it a fatter look in the back. This is a sports car, but it's also a muscle car. And that's what I always pretty much liked about these cars. When you're into AMCs, you want something different rather than having something the same like everybody else has. Like being at a car show with 600 cars in it and being the only AMX there, you know, is pretty special. And I think a lot of people feel the same way about AMCs. You would definitely need to have passion and commitment to have one of these cars because of the rarity of the parts. You know, these cars are worth it, you know, $40,000 into the restoration, and it would be only worth $30,000. But, you know, there's a passion that comes with that, and I will soon have a second one. I was at a car show once, and the day before, I made a huge burnout, and there was black rubber all over the back quarter panel, and I was wiping it off, and the white towel was completely black, and a group of guys were walking by and saying, now you're using that car for what it was intended. It's not really easy to restore these cars. It was very difficult to find one that was clean. 16 years ago, there weren't really any reproduction parts for it. You know, 20,000 in 3 years is really nothing compared to any other car that was manufactured back then. You can actually build a Mustang from the ground up. with reproduction parts, but these, you know, you need to start with something that's not all rusted through. So this car has mostly very clean NOS parts on it, which is very rare. The AMX has a particular look that's unlike any other car out there. And I like staring at it just as much as anybody else does, and I've had it for over 16 years, and I still like looking at it. It's just, Dick Teague was a genius, and he really put a lot of thought into every little bend in the metal on this car, and it really stands out like that. And people always, if you're a car guy, will know that that's an AMX, and there's no other car like it.